Sports Talk Bears, like and subscribe. Okay. The Bears, as you know, we have some areas to cover this offseason. We'll take a look at what's in store in each area moving forward. But right now, we have a chance to do it again. We have a chance once again to fool the entire NFL by getting a contract done immediately. And that contract is our own Jalen Johnson. We need to pay him right now. And we'll go to the Yahoo Sports story. So, Jalen Johnson, let's talk this through. Johnson, he deserved the Pro Bowl honor for the jump he took in 2023. Johnson has long been recognized as one of the best coverage corners in the league, but there was one thing missing. He didn't have the takeaway production to match. That all changed this last year when Johnson intercepted 4 passes. He forced 1 fumble. He returned one of those interceptions for a touchdown, too. So let's look at this in a little more detail. All I have to ask is, did you watch the Green Bay game without Johnson? Sure, Stevenson, he flashed big time. Man, he was he was such a find as a second rounder. He's my choice as defensive rookie of the year. And Stevenson, he's partial proof that our GM, he'll deliver with another great draft class. And let's give huge props to Cunningham as well, our assistant GM. He might be leaving us as teams request to interview him. And a little note on Cunningham. Let's take a little rabbit trail. Our assistant GM, if he takes another job elsewhere this offseason, we'll get 2 third-round compensation picks. So although we don't want this to happen, he's brilliant. We'll simply have more ammo to further fill the empty cupboard that Poles was given 2 years ago. Man, I can't say the words. So back to that last game without Johnson. Stevenson, he looked like the truth. Terrell Smith, he got picked on a bit, but he delivered on several big-time coverage plays to keep the game close. It was great. The eye test, though, without Johnson, there's no anchor. We looked disjointed. We looked incomplete in the secondary, I'd say, giving up huge gains, huge passes down the middle. I mean, we need to have our teeth back. And a steady veteran presence to support these fantastic rookies, we need them. And it's simply someone we just got to pay and be done with it. We're talking about the PFF rated #1 corner in the whole league. And there was a great stat I saw recently. QBs would have had a higher QBR throwing the ball in the dirt 50 times than throwing it to a receiver covered by Jalen Johnson. That's crazy, but that's a testament to what a great corner he is. In a twist as well, Bears general manager Ryan Poles, he just said publicly he wanted cornerback Jalen Johnson back in a Bears uniform, and he actually called his shot. He didn't mind telegraphing his intention one tiny bit. Jalen's not going anywhere. That's a direct quote. Poles said that, and I absolutely love it. Next question, why do I love it? Johnson, an unrestricted free agent after this season, that's right, after this season, he won't have a shortage of suitors, especially from teams like the Eagles, the Lions, the Steelers. They're in desperate need of a top-tier cornerback, and they're also in the playoffs this postseason. After the playoffs, they're going to throw money at him. We need to realize how difficult it is to get a young shutdown corner who's homegrown, who wants to be a Chicago Bear. So that's one reason we need to sign him right now. Still, Poles, he's confident that Johnson will remain in Chicago. He should be the absolute main priority too. He had a career year, and his price tag, it's going to be high. But the main reason we just need to suck it up and pay him, being the first to get a deal done with Johnson, that would mean Poles would set the market for top-tier cornerbacks right now, as opposed to another team doing it for him. I'm not sure that's something we think about, and it's also been the MO for Poles to do this, so let's chop that up. Look at what he's done with 2 other players. On both, he purposely timed the contracts. He purposely timed them to avoid paying at a future market-setting price. It's a matter of understanding football economics, and it makes all the difference. I did a previous story on this, but let me refresh you. There are more players we could go through, but let's start with DJ Moore. For DJ Moore's acquisition, it's all about timing. It's not just about performance. Have you heard of the great wide receiver gold rush of 2022? It's when wideout contracts, they entered a new stratosphere, headlined by Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Their deals, after those, it will never be the same at wide receiver. And the level at which we pay these players, it's gone through the stratosphere. Moore's contract, it was signed just before that. He signed for essentially 10 million per year. Well, 10 million total less per season, right? Than these two contracts. Think about that. 10 million less per season than the two top guys in the wide receiver market that have signed contracts recently. Think about that. Career highs across the board. Looks like sky's the limit moving forward, right? He's young and essentially cheap in the grand scheme of things. However, when he signed that contract, it looked huge. Poles, he saw the contract he was under and he timed his acquisition perfectly. This is part of the brilliance of what's been done here. So for fun, guess whose cap charge? Guess whose cap charge Moore's is similar to next year? Oh, wait. It's crazy. Answer, it's close to Dallas's Michael Gallup. For someone I would say is a top five at his position right now, his contract resembles Michael Gallup's. So let's move on to another player. Let's talk about Montez Sweat. We grabbed him at the deadline to a lot of criticism. We are losing. He wasn't even signed to a contract. We also paid a second-round pick. Everyone thought it was a silly, silly move. But Poles, he got him signed immediately, a 4-year deal worth $98 million. That sounds like a lot, right? Are there many players, though? Are there many players you'd like to end right now more than Sweat? It's a short list, man. Let's look at the economics of this. The marketplace is super similar to that of the wide receiver position. It's just exploded, and it's going to get worse. He's making also about $10 million less than Nick Bosa. Look, I'm not going to say he's better than Nick Bosa, but look at the results. Sweat has more sacks this year, 1 fewer tackle for a loss, 9 fewer QB hits. That's a little significant. But we have a player here who set a career high in sacks and is 27. He was a sack leader for 2 different teams in 1 year. And also at 27, that's the athletic prime for a defensive end in this league. Look at the landscape, too, moving forward. Micah Parsons, he's up for a market-setting contract above Bosa's. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, they have 2 years left on theirs. And I would argue after the performance this year, Garrett, he might push early to be paid number 1 money. That's not going to wait until 2026. That's going to happen soon. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a comparable savings of $20 million compared to top of the market on these two players. And we're getting market topping performance out of them. We get to do that again with Jalen Johnson if we act quickly now. We sidestep both markets. This doesn't happen by accident. Let's look at other teams that might have moved too slowly. Every single defensive end, every single wideout, they're going to get more expensive because these top end contracts, they'll tie themselves to the tail end of that. And we have Sweat signed until 2027. We'll look at both contracts as bargains. Champagne performance, spending beer budget money. It's crazy in the world of the NFL that all this cash, it's beer budget money, but it's true. This is the definition of understanding football economics and timing the market perfectly. This is unusual. The Bears, they've made it clear they intend to retain the star quarterback on the roster next season. It's going to happen. Jalen's not going to go anywhere, and we'll work through it to get something done. That's coming straight from Ryan Poles at his end-of-season press conference. Poles also has 2 notable options to get this done to make sure Johnson stays in Chicago in 2024. First, he could offer Johnson a new contract. Since Johnson's rookie contract, it expires when the new league begins in March. He can go that route. Poles could also go another route. It's not ideal, but he could use the franchise tag to keep Johnson under team control for 1 more year. According to overthecap.com, their projections, sorry about that, Johnson would earn $18,410,000 on the franchise tag. That is almost market setting, but it's great to do it now. We cannot let him go to another team. We don't want to let him get in a bidding war with like Detroit, with Philly, with Pittsburgh. These teams are all desperate for a number 1 corner, and they will pay. We don't want to get in a bidding war. Let's just get the contract done now. Jalen Johnson, he wants to be the Bear. He wants to be a Bear, and we would be absolute fools to not want him to be a Bear as well. We now have a chance to do it again. We have another chance to manipulate the market, to have good football economics, to look a couple years from now and say, hey, we have 3 players that were $30 million below top production. And that is how you structure your team and your salary cap so you do not end up in salary cap purgatory that we see so many teams do in the past. And there's things that we have been in before in this manner, and I don't want to do it again. Polls will keep us out of that. So you guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this is the contract that we just need to get done and suck it up and pay him. I will see you in the comments, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Like and subscribe. Bear down. It's going to be a great offseason, and I'm here for it. See ya.